Kristina ja tere kõigile Lõuna-Aafrika Vabariigist ja Johannesburgist. Seisan keset mere Fitzgeraldi väljakut ja täna on 29 kraadi sooja ja tohutu tuul, nagu te mu juustest näete. Minu ülesandeks oli rääkida oma sõbra Eric Miyeniga, kuidas Perekond aitab kaasa hea kodaniku kasvamisele. Ja nüüd lähemegi ühte Johannesburgi parimasse restorani, mille nimi on Hramatulas ja räägime Erikuga. Do you think that what makes a good citizen is a universal principle, or is there anything particular to what is in one regime and what is in another one?
Integrity is integrity in Estonian, it's integrity in Tsonga, my language, integrity in all of that stuff. But I think an Estonian and a South African will both know that stealing is wrong, for instance, that killing is wrong, for instance. So I believe human beings across the world are by and large governed by the same basic principles.
How do you think family contributes to that? Is that something that, what do you think? Are you as a person born with certain values and then the family can either enhance them or reduce them and then you go to work and school and so on? But what's the role of family? And tell a little bit about your mother and the way, for example, she brought you up. And
one of the most amazing stories is of a pair of identical twins who both had an incredibly abusive father. And the one became a model citizen, and the other one became a horrible, horrible criminal. So when they asked the criminal, how did you become so horrible as a person when he was caught? He said, my father did this and that to me, what do you expect? And when they went to the model citizen and said, how did you become such a good family man and a good citizen? He said, my father did this and that to me, what did you expect? So there is such a thing as personal will to become something. It's a nature question. What makes somebody come out one way and another go out that way? Now, my mother did an incredible thing because in my house there were just two principles, no more than that. You don't steal and you don't lie. And those two things, I came to realize in my adult life that they cover all moral problems. If I say I'll meet somebody at 12, when I'm late I feel like I'm a liar and that I'm stealing their time. If I say I'll do something and I don't do it, you know, if I hurt somebody, I feel like I'm stealing their happiness. The other thing that I think she did, which is incredible, which I consciously try to pass on to my son, by the way, is to always make me feel like I was an important human being. So I don't remember once my mom going, like acting like I was some gremlin little thing that she sort of inadvertently always referred to us kids in the plural, which in Tsonga, my language, is a sign of respect.
Margie, my landlady, right? She is a white lady from Grahamstown, comes from a good farming family. And she says that we talked with her about the same, like how family grooms a good citizen.
Yeah.
And 40 years ago, when she was about a 10-year-old girl, the good citizen did not talk to another white person with interactions with black person. So she told me the story how she was 10 years old and when she saw this man in her village coming towards her, who everybody knew had a black wife, and I don't know if you could really be married, but was living together, then her parents had told her that you should not interact with that person. So it was a good citizenship at that time to be, you know, to separate yourself from other people. And I find that story so fascinating because she said to me, but already then I realized, no, that is wrong. That's just stupid. And without really realizing the whole like political context. Was your family about not open, but how communicative or resistant or accepting or totally fighting it were they when you grew up?
I mean, one of the things, let me give you an example. So I go to university and I read Malcolm X's biography, and Malcolm X was a radical black, you know,
Muslim.
You know, he's blacks, whites are devils, you know, and yeah, I start to sit as far away from whites as I can. When I see them come the road, I move 10 meters so I'm not close to them. I'm the last one in the lecture hall so that I can choose the farthest distance from these devils. And I go to my mom, of course, and I tell my mom, I know how to deal with whites. And by the way, did you know they're devils? And she says, yes, my son, how do you deal with them, you know? And I said, I told her what I just told you. I move away, I stay away, all of this stuff. A lot of hard work in a university where you are numbered something like 2,000 to 1, in terms of 2,000 whites, 1 black. And she said, I'm glad, my son, that you have found a way to deal with these people. This is how I handle people. And I said, yeah, Mom. She said, when somebody tells a joke and I think it's funny, I laugh. When somebody tells a joke and I think it's not funny, I don't laugh. It doesn't matter whether they are white, black, female, whatever. That's how I deal with people. Yeah, the best way to stop people from being good citizens is to keep them too busy with things that they shouldn't be busy with. You know, I told my son once, like, that he has more time than me, and I had more time than my mother, who had more time than her parents. Because under apartheid, my mom had to wake up at 4 to be at work at 6 and only come back at 8 at night before cooking. She just didn't have enough time. At some point, we were just parenting ourselves, and there was no aids, you understand? So then comes Eric's time. And suddenly I can go to varsity, and because of that, now I have more time. And I was trying to say to my son that when you have time, now what you need to do is to use it for the right reasons. I.e., as an example, you don't want to decide whether or not you are a drug user when you get offered drugs. It's too late. You must decide ahead of time. Do I want to die of an overdose at 28? Am I the kind that likes these drugs? Yes, I do. Great. When they offer you, you say, hey, I've been waiting for this. Or you can say no. But if you don't use that time to prepare ahead of time, you get offered too much pressure. Suddenly, you don't know which way to go and you become an accidental junkie. That's a problem. So I think the quickest way to stopping people from becoming good citizens is to steal their time. You keep them poor, uneducated, working for nothing for too long. You'll never get good citizens like that because they're just too busy with too much rubbish, which is where most South Africans are right now, unfortunately. If you want good citizens, they need time to think about stuff, digest them because they've been educated, all of this stuff. So we need those fundamentals in order for people to have the time to contribute meaningfully to to the betterment of our society. Because for me, all those things that you listed talk to one thing. You must be a positive contributor to the betterment of society.